What's up, everybody? And very welcome along to tonight's stream. As you can see, it's the A-team, it's the big boys, it's the creme de la bleeding creme. It is Mr. Jack Gill, Mr. James Redmond. There is far too much fucking hair on this stream, gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I'm putting it out there early doors.
It's not for everyone. You don't want to mess with your creek.
See, that's why you're on here. I love that. More of that shit. Someone called me the bald eagle last night, lads, and I won't lie, I was strutting around the house loving that. I don't even know if it was an insult, but I liked it.
You're the sexiest handball guy that you'll see in the lounge, yeah, so don't you worry, Craig. Don't you rock that ball's head with style and no one does it like you.
I'll tell you what though, James, Paddy Murphy's going to run you close for the impressions. He was doing some belters. He did Daniel Fark last night on the stream, and
He's giving me a run for me money. We might have to do a little we might have to do a little like an accent off on a show. I've got Conor McGregor in my locker, so I can try and give that one a go. I feel like if I tried to polish the Jurgen Klopp one again, I used to do an alright Jurgen Klopp one, but I'd need to try and refresh. If I can do a good Jurgen Klopp one, surely that wins me the whole damn thing.
I'll give it to you. I'll give you the nod. I'll give you the W if you can whip out a good Jurgs.
Tell fucking Paddy anytime, any place, any fucking way. And we'll
honestly,
get this accent
really
off.
Good. I've not really heard many people have a crack at Daniel Farke,
sure he is.
but it was pretty good at it. I won't lie. Much better
I don't
than
know
me.
I don't know how Daniel Farke speaks, to be fair, but I'm sure he does a great
you know the three pigs from Shrek? He sounds like one of them.
Oh, alright. Do you know what's mad? Like, I've just literally pictured that voice on his face. Like, 100%. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome to the stream, everybody. It's
if you
kicked
didn't know
off.
that,
It's
now you
lively. Look, ladies and gentlemen, and young men and young ladies around the world, the festive season, it's fast approaching. And Jack, you're going to be out there now. James, you'll be out there as well, on the town, out there doing bits over the festive season, having a few pints, in and out of pubs. The big talk that I'm hearing, and of course I'm a boomer, so I don't know about this, is that Manscaped is all the rage this Christmas, gents. I mean, it is the must-have gift.
I did mine last night. Manscaped.
There you go.
I approve it, but I don't think it's right for this one.
Jack, since we last spoke, mate, not only have they got the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker, the ball toner, the ball deodorant, the boxer brief, and the shed travel bag, they've upped the game, mate. They now have a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner for lads like yourself and James with hair there, and they also have a body wash infused with aloe vera and sea salt. So they're upping the game.
They're taking the piss. How are they getting this good? They're literally sorting out every department. They're like Henderson, good at everything.
Next, they're going to be challenging Lynx Africa. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if they can get to that level, if they can get up there and make me choose them over Lynx Africa, you know, they've done their job. And you can get 20% off. Free shipping, James. Manscaped.com, WFM20.
Oh, WFM20. That's actually, do you know what's mad? I've been saying to myself all week, just in case you do ask me the code at some point in the show, WFM20.
I was gonna throw it back at you like after last week. I knew you'd be prepared. If you want Santa's beard in your pants this Christmas, Manscaped.com, WFM20, free shipping, 20% off. Look, gents, Liverpool have been doing a bit of manscaping of their own, it looks like, and Michael Edwards has told them that at the end of this season, he's going to move on to pastures new and will be replaced by Julian Ward, who has been trained up, I think it's fair to say, stepped up since Michael Edwards maybe let them know he'd be leaving. And look, just really quickly before I ask that for their opinion, bit of a bio on Julian Ward, He joined Liverpool in 2012 after a couple of years at Man City, started out as a scout manager in Spain and Portugal. In 2015, became the club's lone pathways and football partnerships manager, helping Liverpool youngsters all around, academy players who were out on loan and stuff like that. And then he stepped up in 2020 and he became Michael Edwards' assistant sporting director. And now he's going to step up and take the reins full time. It's probably as close, James, to losing a Jurgen Klopp level from within the club. Like, Michael Edwards has done bits, mate, since he's been at the club.
Oh, he's been amazing, and you've just mentioned like Liverpool have just been doing a bit of a Manscaped. The difference is this one cuts your bollocks, and Manscaped does not do that. Therefore, I wouldn't even compare it to that. I feel like Michael Edwards leaving. When I saw the news this morning, it was really a dagger in the heart, and it was because of what you've just said. You know, as much as you've got to attribute the success, and rightly so, to Jurgen Klopp, and the majority of that to Jurgen Klopp and the players, you've got to attribute a good percentage of that as well to Michael Edwards. And that's the one thing, as much as I can critique FSG on occasions, and obviously people have their own opinions on FSG, they have brought in a phenomenal sporting director team, and that's been proven over time, because every single player that we've bought, none of them, from Robertson for 8 million to Virgil van Dijk for 75, none of them was supposed to be as good as they was, and you've got to attribute that to the sporting director team that they acquired in their disposal. And even look at Manchester United, for example, with Woodward and the way they've sort of approached their transfer game. We're very fortunate to have a good sporting director team, because it is just as important as having a good manager, because some people think that the manager is always the one who has the full and final say on signings. Not actually the case. Sometimes the club will overstep the boundaries of the manager and say, no, even though you might not like him for your system, he's great for shirt sales, just for example, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like Michael Edwards and Jurgen Klopp, they were just a phenomenal tag team in their own right. They worked well together, they trusted each other, and it was a match made in heaven. And now that Michael Edwards is leaving, not only is it not good because we're losing a boss sporting director, but he also goes to a rival, because he is going to go to a Real Madrid, a Juventus, and just do boss. Therefore, that does concern me. But then you've just brought up Julian Ward as well, which I'm sure we're going to get right into. And the fact that he's in the same hierarchy, let's say, he's coming from the assistant, getting promoted to the main job, I suppose that gives me a little bit more comfort. It's not like we're going completely out of the way to get some nobody fella that we know nothing about. He's got experience, he's getting the job based on, he's worked around the best in Michael Edwards, for example, and he's getting the job with a lot of experience behind his belt. So it could have been worse. It could have been worse. Someone's even just said in the chat, wow, James praising FSG. But you do have to credit them for having Michael Edwards on board. For all the shit that you can give them, you've got to give them the credit for what they do right. And Michael Edwards was a huge bonus.
For me, Jack, we'll look at Michael Edwards' time at Liverpool. We'll talk about the players that he brought in. But the sales and some of the money he got for the likes of Jordan Ibe, Dominic Solanke, players like that, mate, will probably be his legacy for me.
Yeah, how the fuck are we meant to get 30 million for Divock Origi now? But no, seriously, what James just said, I completely mirror it. Echo everything he said regarding sporting directors. I spoke last week about Newcastle, praised them for the appointment of Eddie Howe, because that's the way you go about doing these things. They've got lots of money. Rather than going out and getting a world-class coach and spending loads of money on something like that, they've brought in a very good young coach in Eddie Howe, and they're going to put their money in the team around him in getting a very good, top-class sporting director in, probably a good director of football as well. They'll build a good team around Eddie Howe, because they're equally as important as the manager is. Michael Edwards did an expert job at Liverpool Football Club in helping bring in players as well as getting the best kind of money for departing players. The sort of money we got for Brewsters, your Dominic Solankes, your Jordan Ibes. And I, like James said, I love the fact we've employed within in bringing up Julian Ward. He's learned from Michael Edwards. He's learned from the best. He's been taught by the man who he will now succeed. And there's a lot of Liverpool fans that would like to see Pep Linders succeed Jurgen Klopp, and I suppose it's a similar sort of thing with that. Listen, I'm not going to play it down. It's a big loss, and it could be diabolical for us. But I think we're a very well-run oil machine.
Don't say oil, Jesus! Don't say oil, Jack. People get excited. It's an oil.
We're a very ran machine. We're very well ran behind the scenes, and I'm confident that Liverpool know what they're doing here, and they'll have brought up Julian Ward for a reason. There's people out there. There were lots of talk that maybe we'd get, the Borussia Dortmund one. His name has completely left my mind.
Is it Michael Zorc? Him?
Yes, that's the one. There was lots of talk on that, which I think would have been a good appointment as well. But Julian Ward is a man that will know the club inside out. He's been here since 2012. He'll know the club inside out. He'll know the way that we like to work. And for me, it's the perfect person to succeed him.
What do we think will happen with Michael Edwards? I think, by the way, he won't go out the door unless he has a certain name on a certain contract for us before he goes off. A little parting gift will be Mohamed Salah's contract. It's gonna happen. No, I'm going for Mo here. Oh, look, if he delivers Choo Bellingham, I mean, that's another thing. But a lot of people thinking automatically he's going to go to Newcastle. That's been doing the rounds a lot today. But for me, I know certainly there's been interest, Jack, from Barcelona and Real Madrid as well, and Michael Edwards, which shows you the calibre of the man. And look, I wonder, if you're Michael Edwards, Jack, and you see Xavi just after being announced at Barcelona, the prospect of rebuilding Barcelona alongside Xavi, that has to appeal to him. It has to.
I believe he ruled Newcastle out today and said he wouldn't go there. I think he ruled Leipzig out as well. I can see Barcelona or Real Madrid being his next move, Dortmund potentially. Them sort of clubs. I can't see him going to another Premier League club. I think the reason he's leaving is because he wants a whole completely different scenario, completely different situation. Barcelona would be a good move for him. It would be interesting to see him go there. Obviously, they've got a big job on their hands. I think he's the best man for them. He'd be very, very capable of helping them out with that. You're talking about a man who can get bargains, got a real eye for talent, and also, get the most.
A man who flogged them Coutinho for 142 million exactly. And told them not to bother coming back till 2021.
Michael Edwards is going to. Mike Edwards is going to get there and they're all just going to lock him in a room like the scenes in films when you're in prison or something like that, and then all the police officers, they take you into a little room, they smash your head in, they're like, that's what you get for Coutinho, you motherfucker, now do your job and buy us some bargains, you're the reason why we're in this mess. I don't think he'll go to Barca though. I just think the timing of it will be a bit weird for me. I can see it more being a Juventus, Real Madrid type move. I think that would make more sense.
I wonder, lads, will he even stay in the sport? Because let's be honest about it. You can imagine some of the big franchises in America and stuff like that would certainly be interesting. And do you know what baffles me? Like, I'm 40. He's 41. And he's leaving Liverpool Football Club after doing what he's done. It makes me feel all kinds of fucking useless, lads. Like 41 years of age to be in that position and doing what he's doing and be that coveted by companies all around the world is mad. It's and look, we wish Julian Ward all the best, and we hope that he carries on the great work that Michael Edwards has done. Again, bit of news today, gents, and I wanted to just tickle your nuts a little bit on this one, so bear with me while I grab this image. Connor sent it to me a few minutes ago, and it's Liverpool extensively watching Federico Chiesa. Liverpool continue to be linked with a move for the Juventus forward. According to Italian news outlet Calcio Mercato, the Reds are extensively watching Chiesa with a view to possibly signing the winger. They go on to talk about Vlahovic a little bit, who, let's be honest, isn't the right fit for us. The report states that Jurgen Klopp is a big admirer of Chiesa, and Juve could be forced to sacrifice the winger by selling him next summer in order to raise funds. Just get it done. That's all I'm saying, lads. Like, if there's any hope on earth of getting Federico Chiesa, get him.
100%. Like, honestly, I couldn't echo that more. I'm such a big fan of Chiesa. When I was watching him in the Euros, I'm like, this is like a beast who I just didn't realise was such a beast. And he's 23. It's not like he's 19 and whatnot. So I'm thinking, how have I not heard of this guy sooner? Because I did rumblings, but he's a top player, and when you talk about quality and what he will bring to Liverpool, he would be amazing for us, boys. Genuinely, he will be exactly what we need. He'd be pace, he'd be energy, but also he brings the technical side of things, and he's an option. So when you see the aging of Mane, Firmino, Salah's not getting any younger, even though he's getting better, he's not getting any younger. Chiesa is there to push the positions for when one of the front three is out of form, just like what Diogo Jota has been. He's been that bit of energy. He brings attributes to the side that other forwards don't bring. Like Jota, for example, he brings the heading side of the game. He gives us a threat inside the box. Chiesa will bring us, I feel like, just a more high tempo, more frequent, more persistent winger than probably what we've got right now, because that's what he is. One thing that people don't realise, Chiesa is not afraid of the ball. He's not afraid to retrieve the ball and try and go at players. Chiesa's one of them. Do you like when Naby Keita joins and then you see a lot of the young Liverpool fans, like the kids, and they buy the Naby Keita shirts because he's an exciting player, he's flashy, scores good goals, looks good on the ball. A typical, like the way Phil Coutinho was before he was even world class. The young Liverpool fans love Phil Coutinho because he was flashy. I think Chiesa would also bring that element to the club, and he's attached to the Liverpool fans like that. He's from the Italian league. He's gone through that Italian national team. He's got passion. He come right into the Premier League with the right attitude. I can tell you that for sure. And he's got a good amount of experience. There's not really too much risk. He's established. He's 23, as I've said. He's got multiple first team seasons under his belt. And I think, the combination of working with Jurgen Klopp, I don't think it'd be an extortionate amount of money. Yeah, but if you was going to pay a lot of money, I think he'd be worth it. So I do think if we can get Chiesa, you go and get Chiesa.
For me, Jack, I look at Chiesa and I have to say, I see somebody who has all the attributes to fit into our system. Somebody who, dare I say, could almost replicate a lot of what Bobby does, which is very difficult. And there aren't many players I would hold up to that regard. But he's hungry, he works, he's the right age bracket. But the big question, Jack, is always going to be the price. What price would he be and how would we potentially fund it? Yeah,
like James said, a man that caught the eye of many during the Euros. He was Italy's main man, really. He's sort of been Juve's. He's overshadowed the Ronaldo departure at Juve. Really, he stepped into the shoes there with the boys.
He's a star boy there now, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they'll be desperate to keep him. He's an absolute quality player, and everything James said there, I completely echo. He's young, he's got a bit of flashiness about him. He'd fit in perfectly. But it'd be difficult for him, wouldn't it? Coming to Liverpool, a team who have so many Italian legends. Obviously, Mario Balotelli did really well with us. Fabio Borini, how's he going to be better than Fabio Borini, eh? But no, I think Borini. I think it'll be a top quality signing for us. It's one I cannot see happening, and I think Juve will be desperate to keep hold of this fella. I saw someone in the comments say before, I think it only happens if Salah goes, and that's kind of how I'm feeling about this too. And for me, if you bring in someone in to replace Salah, no one can do that job. So it will never be a positive signing because it would be an impossible job to try and replace Mohamed Salah. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's the case, and we manage to bring him in and on top of the front four that we've already got. But I just can't see it, Craig, I'm afraid.
I remember reading something recently that it was either himself or his father, or a combination of both, wanted him to stay in Italy for the time being. Didn't feel like it was the right time for him to make that move outside of Serie A.
I think Bayern really wanted him in the summer as well, but that was rebuked by both the player and the club. Obviously, Juve were desperate not to sell. Chiesa said he didn't want to leave either. And I just think now you're looking at him and the timing of it. We mentioned there, he stepped into Ronaldo's shoes a bit. He's their star boy now. Why would he leave right now at this moment in time? I think, give him a couple more years at Juventus. Like James said, he's very young still. He's very young. He's got no pressure to leave now. He's still got years in his tank. I just can't see it happening, fellas. I really can't.
At what point do we start to really have a conversation about the age of our front three and the contractual situation of all three of them? Because as much as we might want to bury our heads in the sand and never look at the prospect of losing any of them, it is a distinct possibility that somebody is going to have to be sacrificed to help fund a refund and to freshen up the age profile of the attacking players at the club.
Right now, you start to think about and having that conversation. Sometimes success comes with uncomfortable conversations. If you look at all forms of business, even outside of football, it comes with uncomfortable conversations if you want it to do well. It's like if you're owning an Asda and you're doing great business, but the manager is 80 years of age and he's starting to get a bit of a screw loose, and he starts throwing peas at customers. I don't give a... because why not? I don't know why peas, but why not peas? And if he starts doing that, you've got to let him go. And in this instance, I just think to myself, sometimes, even though I don't think Mane and Firmino are at the peas throwing thing yet, I just think, you have got to have that conversation. Chiesa is someone who will bring a little bit of life into the club. And if it's not Chiesa, it can be someone else. Just swerve all of this loyalty bullshit. We've been loyal to them, and they're still going to be here for the next season or two. when it gets to the end of the next season or two, they'll have been here for 6-7 years. Great football. They'll be going down as a legend. They'll always have a place in our hearts. Best believe when they retire, they'll be doing all the LFC TV and joining the charity games and stuff like that, because they're them type of players. However, you can't just stick with that, because if you start staying in one place, other people are going to start overtaking you, because it's not just Liverpool no more. We've already got Man City, who've got a stronger spending power, Chelsea, Man United, who are also going to get a new sporting director. You've got Newcastle now, who are going to be building up new things. Leicester, they're on and off in some seasons, but they're still going to keep on building. West Ham only getting better. You've got to keep moving, and if Liverpool fall into this trap of keeping older players for too long, first of all, you've got a possibility of keeping what might not be a very good player no more for very extortionate wages. You might be paying 150 grand a week for someone who's not getting your goals and getting your assists. Or you can go out and get someone new with the good sporting directors you have for a good price, and then improve the life into the club. If we never signed Diogo Jota, imagine how fucked we'd be right now, because we didn't have that energy
to save his life, mate. Diogo Jota can't throw P to save his life.
He's got a P, and he gets on the ends of them fucking crosses with it every single time. Diogo Jota was one of them signings which, you know, all the more testament to Michael Edwards, because we were all saying, what even is that signing? Coming from Wolves, you've probably got Adama Traore, which most fans would have wanted over him. But I just think you've always got to keep improving. It's why I don't like seeing Liverpool go through one transfer window without making any changes. And I think in the last 4 or 5 seasons, we've had 2 similar transfer windows where we've made one signing or less. So I just think, make sure that you go out and keep improving and don't get stuck.
Look at what we have right now in midfield. So at the start of the season, we probably all said we've got enough, 7 or 8 to cover midfield. Now we're looking at it, and it shouldn't be a surprise that Endo picks up knocks, that Thiago gets injured, that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has injuries and his form is a bit hit and miss. James Milner is the age that he is, and even James Milner can't defy Father Time forever. So I'm with James on this one, Jack. I think the club really do have to stop being so sentimental and make some difficult decisions in the summer, or we're going to be lagging behind.
Yes, but if FSG are watching this, don't do that with Mohamed Salah. Just give him what the fuck he wants.
Oh yeah, he's boss. He's boss.
Yeah, but
don't make him get Mini Mo out.
No.
Oh, you've made me fucking do it. You've made me. Look what you're doing, Craig. Look what you're doing.
Jack was getting confused there. He didn't know which way we were going with that one.
Yeah, this is Mini Mo. That's what he would have been thinking, innit, where it just stands up. Nah, listen, this is the lucky... Do you know, since I bought this, Jack, Mo Salah has been like the Mo Salah that we've been seeing this season. So there this guy is the lucky gem. Yeah. Even Mini Mane, Craig, you thought I lost Mini Mane the other week, didn't you? Mini Mane, back to his best since I bought this guy. So, dream team. Mane. Running down the wing, Mini Mane. Amazing.
I remember reading, I think before the start of this season, I think it may have come from James Pearce, saying that 2 of the 3...
Fake news Pearce. Only messing, we love James Pearce. Only 2 of the front 3 would get new contracts. And I mean, it makes sense. They're all big money contracts. They're all of an age where we know that FSG don't like to, spend too much on players of that age. So, like James said, now's the time to talk, and that makes you wonder why we were so quiet in the summer, because the age of our squad, they're only getting older. It's fucking brilliant, and we may never get a squad like this again, but they're only getting older, and we constantly talk about how important it is in football once you get to the top to constantly keep refreshing, making sure you have that balance still of what you've got that's working so well, but also bringing in fresh faces that help push for it year on year on year on year. It's why Sir Alex Ferguson is one of the best managers of the Premier League era, because he was so good at doing it, bringing through fresh faces from the academy, bringing in new faces from elsewhere, and also keeping the strong, solid unit that Manchester United had over that, strong period of constant success for them. It's what, Man City are trying to do with, they spunked a load of money at first, and they try and bring in fresh faces every now and again, to keep what they've got, but continue to make sure that they're at the top year after year after year. And now our squad's to getting to the point where we need some young,
fantastic talent coming in. Now we know we've got a strong academy, but we need to start spending money on the next generation to be, the Mohamed Salahs, the Sadio Manes, the Roberto Firminos. I'm going to pick out some names now. Alexander Isak, I think, is the perfect Firmino replacement. I think he's fucking.
Do you know, Jack, if he has a release clause? Because I know he had one before he signed his new Sociedad deal, but I haven't been able to figure out what the new. I think they have to have one, don't they? Legally, in the league.
There's rumours that they do. I think he's perfect. I think he's absolutely perfect. I think he'd be a class. I think he's a perfect replacement, and if we can get that deal over the line in the next year or two, perfect. I'm not saying out with Firmino and in with Isak straight away, but Isak coming in now while Firmino's in his prime years still. He's got time to learn from Bobby Firmino, echo what he does for us. Ready for Bobby to move on. Sadio Mane, there's a very, very obvious replacement for him, who, Craig, I'm sure you'll be able to say straight away. Jeremy Doku, of course.
Yeah, of course.
No, Doku will never be as good as Mane. I'm sorry. No, Doku will never be as good as this man right here. Do you know how heavy this player, do you know how heavy Mane is? Boys, come on. We don't give Mane enough credit,
How good is Sadio Mane, James? How good is he?
He's genuinely one of the greatest wingers to ever grace this team. And Jack, you say it again for me, baby, because I can hear that saying all day, even though it was my squeaky ass. And I was like,
Sadio Mane, you see that guy there, Sadio Mane? He's the best player in the world. I don't know
what the fuck was Chris laughing at?
What
the fuck was he laughing at? That's what I was thinking. I was like, you shouldn't be laughing at me. You're trying to stay facts on your ass and you're just there pissing at me like I'm some comedian. Boys, Mane is insane. And even this season, I think he's brought a new life into the team. But all jokes aside, right, what front three or what front two have you saw last as long as this front three has lasted? Genuinely, when you talk about the greatest teams of all time, like this front three should be done by now. And this season, you're still seeing them do wonders together. And it's unbelievable, but it shouldn't last forever. And it really shouldn't. Because it's one of them sort of periods where it's been 7 seasons and it looks like it's going to go on for another season, maybe another 2 seasons. And I'm not even saying let's replace Mane now or let's replace Firmino now, but get younger players who are going to bring something to the table and sort of... Dara, you are a knobhead, with all due respect, with all allowed our opinions, but that's a proper knobhead thing to say. He is definitely world class. If you can give me, don't just say he's not world class with no statements. You've got to give me statements when you're going to say such a ludicrous statement like that. He's got the trophies, he's got the big moments, he's got the goals, he's got the numbers. I'm not being funny or not. And this is what was he, the first player or whatever player, one of the first players to get 100 goals with no goddamn penalties. This is a joke. Half of that at Southampton, by the way. Mane is world class. This front three, at some stage of their career, is world class, but you can't go past the sell-by date, and you've always got to keep refreshing. Jack just named a few great examples. Sir Alex, what Man City do right now. Chelsea are ruthless with the way they handle their team. No one lasts for 10 seasons in the professional game, and Liverpool need to realise that and start adapting to the times.
I agree. And look, there's some other shouts for some names that have been doing the red. And Kunku, guy from Leipzig, another name that's been
decent.
I'm still on the fence on him, lads, if I'm being honest. I mean, he's done bits this season.
Do you know why I like Nkunku? I like him because he brings a certain energy to the midfield, a certain creativity. I feel like a very similar player to Naby, but a bit more persistent. Might not be as good with his long shots and whatnot. That being said, can still add an element of, if there's nothing coming from the midfield, he can give you something out of nothing. And that's why I think someone like that would be a good option for the squad. He's not too old, I believe. And I think with his energy and working with Jurgen Klopp, I think he could be a great player. The best thing about Liverpool, we talk about all these forwards we can get, we talk about all these midfielders like Nkunku. The reason why I'm so open-minded on bringing any of these in is because they kind of all the right answer in their own way, because they're all going to improve the way we want them to underneath this manager. Diogo Jota, another example that I brought up before, he's improved a lot under this manager because he had the right attributes there. It's the same with these type of players. So I think if they come into our midfield, as long as they've got the base attributes of what you need, even like Kanate at the back, he's got the pace that we need for there. Nkunku will bring that energy in the midfield that I think would only benefit Liverpool. So Jurgen Klopp could do wonders with a player like that. And he wouldn't be extortionate money.
Another name that was doing the rounds actually as a potential alternative for Choo Bellingham was I never get this lad's name right. Is it Marino? Is that the guy's name from Real Sociedad? Apparently used to play for Newcastle as well.
Marino, yeah.
He's got a £51 million release clause apparently in his contract, and there was a piece, I think it came from Fajajes or whatever, Fichajjes or something, Spanish outlet talking about Liverpool's interest in him. I don't know. Look, I know Sociedad have a good group of players there at the minute, but I will be lying to you if I said I knew anything about this lad.
That's a lot of money for a guy that I don't know about. I'm not going to lie. Jack, you can speak on that one.
From what I've seen of Marino, and Sociedad this season, they're having a very good season. He's a player that I think, it's so easy to see these days who's a Jurgen Klopp player and who's not. For example, I'll pick out Calvin Phillips. I think he'd be incredible under Jurgen Klopp. I think he's a player that would suit us down to a T. I think Marino's another one who's a Klopp-type player who would slot into our midfield well. In terms of an alternative to Bellingham, none of us want a fucking alternative to Bellingham. We just want fucking Bellingham.
Preach.
So get it.
Yeah, please.
But I think it's one that I could see happening. The price, 51 million. He's doing really well. I
have an alternative for you, Jack. 2 Bellinghams.
Well, yeah. Let's, as we said last week, let's get them both in because let's use Job as the bait. I'm going to use one of James's mad analogies now. Let's get our fishing rods out. Let's use Job as the bait, and then let's drop him in there, drop him in the little pond, and then let's bring up Choo Bellingham next summer. Get it done. Bring Phillips in as well. That's the future. Them two in midfield.
It's like when you're in a nightclub, isn't it? When you see the girl that you want, Jude is the girl that we want, so we just go, and then they get hooked, and then it's just like, and they move to you, and it's just a beautiful moment, and this should be a beautiful moment, and we should be able to get our Jude to the Bellingham.
James, I'll tell you what it's like. So getting in Job first, it's like when you see a fit girl in the club, and she's with her mate, and you're with your lads, and you have to go and pull the fat one first, to get her after. Do you know what I mean?
The below par one. Do you know what I mean? Some fat girls can be beautiful.
Yeah.
Got to give the fat girls credit.
You just do the all reliable. Go over and go. What do you think of me, mate, over there? And she goes, no. And you go, what about me? Do you know what I mean? That's the all reliable.
Craig, we're talking about today, not in 1970. That may have worked.
Sorry, Jack. I still dream in black and white, mate. I still dream in black and white. On the Real Sociedad, one name in the chat there as well that keeps coming up, and he has had a belter of a few seasons, is Arathabal, whose name I just love saying, by the way. He's somebody I do like the look of.
Orzabal.
It's Arathabal. And I know this because there was a golfer called Jose Maria Arathabal with the exact same.
Jack, he's a lord. Just
I'll pack it in.
Don't make me unleash the paperwork, peasant.
Yeah. Like, you've just got to put respect on Jack, do you know what I mean? He is a lord. So you can't say you're the lord. Do you know what
Did
I mean?
Anybody see Jack. Gary Lineker yesterday, actually, talking about why would people pay to become a lord and why do people want to become lords? Look, you fucking walkers eating muppet. Sit down and know your place. Do you know what I mean? Leave us lords alone, Gary. Do you know what I mean?
He's probably eating the ready salsa walkers as well, not even the cheese and onion.
Do you know what annoys me most about walkers? Is how fucking dare they make blue cheese and onion? What type of shithousery? Everybody knows blue with salt and vinegar. Everybody knows blue with salt and vinegar.
Craig,
that's ridiculous.
They're just lays, let's be honest.
Huh?
They're just the shit lays.
They're pretenders to Kios. That's all that they are. Pretenders.
You want to be original, don't you? You want to be original?
I want to get your opinions on something. And I told you before we started we weren't going to talk about the West Ham game, but I need to get your opinions on a couple of things, gents. Firstly, the first goal. I think Klopp's talking out his arse, and I think there was nothing wrong with it. That's my take on it. I think keeper needs to stop being a pussy, come out, take Ogbonna, everybody out of the way, and clear shop. That's my take. Love Alisson. Everybody has days like that. Not knocking the lad. Love him to bits. Bail us out many times. Keepers make mistakes. Shit happens. But I didn't like the reaction from Klopp after the game. I just thought it would be better to say, they outfought us. We lost today. Better team won.
He's got to back his players, though. He's got to back his players. And
but it doesn't look great when he's bitching about VAR.
Craig,
you know what I mean?
Craig, Jurgen Klopp is the epitome of I do not give a fuck about what any of you motherfuckers think of me. Like, I just honestly, he's that mad, you know. Like, even when your kid's in the wrong, and believe me, I live in Liverpool. There's a lot of Scouse mums with this mentality, mine included. Like, I remember one time I threw a pencil at this kid's head. It got me sent out the room, innit? And I couldn't do the test. Ma was fuming that I got sent out the room.
No peas lying around, no.
There probably weren't, so I just found a pencil and I just went dink and it went off his head. Anyway, so she comes in, she storms in, she's like, my kid's done nothing wrong, this, that. And she's backing me, lads, because that's what Scouse Mars do. Jurgen Klopp is a Scouse Mar. So even when they do something wrong, he's still going to back you. And to be honest with you, there's an element that I admire that about Jurgen, because he doesn't care, and I actually see what he's saying in the interviews isn't what he's going to be saying to the players. He's not going to be going into the dressing room and be like, it's all right, you can get away with it, you know what I mean? Do better next time. He won't be doing that. He's going to be going in. He's going to be laying into them, laying the smacker down on their asses, and making sure they do better next time. There's a reason why we don't tend to go on a skid of games. It's because Jurgen Klopp gets it correct, and he's not going to expose that to the media when he doesn't care about the media. He's shown that. You know, right, Jack?
When was Jurgen Klopp Cockney?
No.
I was wondering that.
Now, as of right this second.
But no, I think it's an interesting point what you say, Craig, there. But I think, you know, in terms of Alisson, I just want to say myself, you know, I think there's been so many warning signs of that happening this season. But Alisson,
I should point out as well, Jack's a qualified referee, by the way. Just to point that out.
Alisson saved us from moments like that this season anyway, with top performances when we've been open at the back. So he had an off day. You know, we move on from that. The first goal, I don't see a foul in it, and I think, you know, what happened on that first goal knocked his confidence. You know, he banged his head on the floor. Maybe he can, you know, have a word with Karius and say he had concussion, and that was the reason for his performance. But no, for me, it wasn't. The one that did really annoy me was the Cresswell challenge. I think that's a red card every day of the week. I really do.
I don't two mans.
I'm old school. I think nothing wrong with it. Get up and get on with it.
Yeah, I agree. I just thought it was I think today's game is just really going into a game for wet wipes. And I'm not saying, you know, wet wipe Jack. I'm just saying, like, feel free to say that's a red card. There was not enough contact. It's a sport.
I'll tell you what got me, lads. I heard people, and I didn't see this at the time, but people were talking to me about the Holgate challenge, Jack, and you'll know where I'm going with this one. For the Holgate challenge, I seen the follow through clear as day. You know, he went through man and ball there, and Studs Up didn't give a shite. But for me, I felt Cresswell was unfortunate, but I don't think, and I know intent doesn't matter, Jack, and I know in the letter of the law intent doesn't matter, but I have to say, I just didn't see it enough for a red card. A free kick and a yellow, perhaps, absolutely. But, you know, and look, you're more qualified than myself and James to talk about this because you've been through refereeing.
I mean, qualifications don't matter when it comes to this, though, because I suppose at the end of the day we're all biased, and we all, you know, want what's best for Liverpool, and you know, football very much, although you got the laws of the game, it's a game of opinions. That's why, you know, there's so many talking points at the end of the week, and this is a challenge where you get 50% of people who think it's a red card, 50% who don't. You know, it's fine margins. I just think the way he's followed through. You know, he's kind of saved himself. There's not much power in the challenge, but the way he's followed through, he has gone in high on Jordan Henderson. And I think the modern game, the way the game has gone, the way, you know, that Holgate got a red card for what happened with him in you know, the game before on the same day. I just think that they need to be consistent with these things. And for me, this season, you'll see them challenges 10 times, and 8 out of 10 times will be a red card. And I think we were one of the unfortunate teams where, you know, West Ham got away with it and they've gone on to win the game, which, you know, is the more annoying thing. And I think at that moment in time when, you know, things happen quickly, didn't it? I know the goal was a goal, but, you know, at the time it seemed like it could be one that went either way. And then you had that challenge as well, which was 50-50. From that moment, you know, I just started thinking this isn't going to be our day, and it wasn't at all.
Yeah, no, it's fair. It was one of them that I want to get your opinions on because I can understand people seeing both things in different ways. And as Jack said, football is it's subjective, even when it comes down to refereeing decisions. You know, a lot of the time it isn't black and white. It isn't obvious.
Yeah, and you know what, Craig? Jack's got a very fair point there that he wants to see a level of consistency, because even though there might be rules within the refereeing book that we do not agree with, if they apply them rules and then it happens in a game, then you should have every reason to want to see a red card. Like, you can have your own opinions on what the rules should be, but then you've got to ignore that and see what the rule actually is. And if the red card is being given elsewhere, then I can absolutely understand why people would want that to be given a red card as well.
Yeah, I want to move on a little bit because there's loads of stuff that's happened since we spoke, and it looks like, according to Fabrizio Romano, that Steven Gerrard is about to be named as the Aston Villa manager. 3 million compensation looks like is going to have to be paid to Rangers Football Club, and I want to get your thoughts on first that move for Steven Gerrard before we look at any potential down the road Liverpool connotations.
I think it's absolutely class for him. I think it's the perfect move. The one thing that shocks me with it is the fact he's moving halfway through the season. But I think, the opportunity that's there in front of him now, the fact, Aston Villa are a club with brilliant foundations. They've got a good squad, some good players there.
Jack, do you think it's, sorry to interrupt you, do you think it's a bad thing that he's going halfway through the season?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I agree.
Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be, because, as I say, Villa already have the foundations there. But it's not like, a Newcastle. He was linked with the Newcastle job, wasn't he? It's not like that where there's no foundations there. You come in this year and you're already thrown under the bus. With Villa, you've got a good squad. You've got a good board who will back you. They've got really rich owners there. It's going to be good for him. Rumour is he's going to sign a deal till 2024. Perfect. Klopp's deal runs out in 2024. And I think this is Gerrard's opportunity of going, I've done it at Rangers. I've proved that, I'm a decent manager. I've won a title there. I've done well in Europe. He's got to a point where he's 4 points clear of Celtic this season as well. Now I want to go to a big league. I want to show that I can do it in a big league as well. Villa, obviously, we know they have aspirations of getting to Europe in the next 3 to 5 years, I think it is. He can be the man that puts them in the right direction in terms of that. And then he can say he's got Liverpool have no excuses. Then if Steven Gerrard goes to Liverpool when Jurgen Klopp finishes his reign at this club, if Steven Gerrard hands his CV to Liverpool Football Club and he's done well at Aston Villa in the Premier League, he's got them towards Europe consistently over the next 2.5 years or so. He's finishing high in the Premier League. He's getting them playing nice football. He's bringing in some good players and getting the best out of them. Who are Liverpool to turn around to him and say, sorry, it's too soon? I think this has come at the perfect time for Steven Gerrard. I think it's the perfect football club for Steven Gerrard in terms of what Villa are now, what Villa can be, the backing that they've got for him, what the job he has there in terms of, say over transfers and stuff like that. I think it's absolutely perfect and I'm buzzing for him. I really am. It's going to be emotional at Anfield. I'm at that game in December between, ourselves and Villa. I'm sure we'll be chanting his name on the Kop. But at the same time, we've got 4 games this season against Gerrard and Rafa. That's got to be 12 points there. That's got to be handed to him.
No, listen, do you know what? I just want to quickly echo something on what Jack just said as well. The opportunity of what this is, not only for Gerrard, but for Liverpool fans as well. Because what Liverpool fans need for what is most likely going to be our future manager is a case study. And as amazing as what he's done at Rangers, because I don't think people give Gerrard enough credit for what he's actually achieved at Rangers. The man went in circumstances where they was not the best team in that country, ended up being invincible, and looked like that he probably would have done it again this season. It was sustainable. The thing about Aston Villa is that it's a good club to go to. He's not going to a club. It's not Newcastle under what was their old owner called already? Forgot his name. What's his name? Sports Direct.
Sorry, yeah.
It's not my head.
Mike
Ashley. There we go. It's not like he's going to a club with poor owners who aren't going to back him. This is going to be a situation where we're going to see him get the players that he wants. He's going to get the money that he's going to require to build that team back up. And that's what Aston Villa is. It's a rebuild. It's a club with tradition. It's about bridging the gap between being a mid-table team to a top 6 side. Kind of like what Leicester, West Ham have been doing. But the thing that I love about this, and the thing that intrigues me about Steven Gerrard, is I look at his coaching staff, and I look at Gerrard, and I look at everyone in total. I think to myself, do you know what? Gerrard is the one who's the motivator, he's the legend, he's the one who brings the voice to the room, kind of like Bill Shankly, but Bill Shankly was amazing for those reasons. Why was Bob Paisley so good and just as important? Because he brought the tactical side. So when you look at Beale, who's his assistant coach, phenomenal tactician, and the way he's had Rangers playing football, there was a style of play, there was a philosophy, and it was effective. And if you can bring that to Aston Villa, and let's say you get a top 8 finish from where they are right now, that is fantastic. And then over seasons with the backing, that can be a match made in heaven, and only gets us excited for when he joins us.
Christian Perslow hook up there as well, obviously.
And you know what? Even if this season isn't the greatest start for Gerrard, you know, I think this move for him, and I think he'd have been sat there to Villa and said, you know what, this is, you can tell with Gerrard, you're not appointing for here and now. Villa will know, you know, this year was always going to be a transition year after after Grealish left. Dean Smith's biggest mistake was when he came out at the start of the season after losing Grealish and saying that they'd finish in the top 10 this season, because everyone knew this would be a transition season for Aston Villa. You know, they could have done really well, but it could have gone either way. They've not started the season in the best of manners. They beat Manchester United. They've lost 5 on the
We've all done that, Jack. You know what I mean? We've all done that, mate. Just in case you weren't aware. James, how are you, mate?
I'm boss, lad. How are you?
I feel like Villa may have needed something different, and that's what they're getting in Steven Gerrard. We know how he likes to play. You know, he plays kind of the Rafa way, more defensive, but you know, it's still a nice, effective style of play that I think will work for Aston Villa. I think the thought of John McGinn playing for Steven Gerrard, I think, is incredible. I think you can get a real player out of John McGinn. You know,
even look at how good Kent was for Rangers. How much he improved.
Leon Bailey, been fit, he will be there. Ryan Kent, you know, you look at Alfredo Morello. You know, they could become like a little feeder club for us. You know, we could see a nice low move maybe for one of our lads going there in January. A couple of our youngsters, obviously, that Gerrard's worked with in the past, go in there. Ollie Watkins, I think he'll get some real good form out of him. I think it's
Danny Ings.
And you know what we haven't spoke about, lads? He will, and look, no disrespect to Dean Smith, he did an excellent job and, you know, absolutely adore the club, but Gerrard will be able to attract. He's a name that you would want to go and learn and play from. And that's a massive thing for a club like Villa who, as Jack was saying, want to establish themselves as a regular in European football and push themselves back up there, because it is a very, very, very big job. Make no mistake about it. Aston Villa are a storied football club and they've got an excellent fan base. And I agree with both of you. Like, I haven't really got much to add. I think both of you were excellent in your analysis of what Stevie will bring. But I just think, as James said, it is a case study for us as Liverpool fans to be able to see how Stevie gets on there. And go on, Jack.
Look at Frank Lampard. Look at Frank Lampard. He dived in balls deep at Chelsea. You know, his first big job, went there from Derby in the Championship. At face value, he did a good job at Derby, you know. But then when you look at it deeper, you dissect it after watching his Chelsea reign. He didn't even get Derby promoted. He dived in there. He got the job on the technicality. And at the end of the day, he's not done great. Within a season and a half, they fucked him off. We don't want the same with Steven Gerrard. You know, Steven Gerrard, for mine and James's generation of Liverpool fans and younger than me and James, Gerrard is our hero. He's Superman, lad. For us growing up. You know, there's Liverpool supporters, mine and James's age, who support this football club and have done for their whole lives because of that man. And you know...
he makes me and Jack believe we can do shit with our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, he's the man. It's got to be perfect for him. It's got to be absolutely perfect. And if it's not, you know, then we won't want to tarnish his reputation. And that's why we're going to be more careful. We don't want to do a Chelsea. We don't want to do a Lampard. Let's make sure the time is right for Gerrard. And you know what? If the Villa job doesn't go so well, that doesn't mean we can't get him in the future. It just means the time's not right and he'll have to do a few more jobs. He'll have to kiss a few more frogs before he gets his princess in Liverpool Football Club. And I think that's the case for Gerrard. Like James says, it's a case study, but this may not be the only case study with Steven Gerrard. We may get many more after this, but this is his first real case study. This is, let's see what you can do, lad. And hopefully, you know, he does a class job there and we'll see him in 2024. Happy days.
let me throw something out there. Steven Gerrard, Pep Linders as his assistant, Gary McAllister and Beale all come in at the Liverpool Football Club.
Whoa! I caught that, Craig, and let me throw it right back at you, because I tell you now, mate, that would be absolutely sensational. The mixture of passion, tactician, I mean, if Pep Linders is there, the tradition that would be within that dressing room would honestly be mesmerising to see, because it just makes me think that combination is great for so many different reasons, and it's why I love the comparisons to Bill Shankly and stuff like that, because he brought to the club, along with his team, you know, to what made Liverpool Football Club, to what gave us the history that we possess. And then even when Bill Shankly left, it was the foundations that was built afterwards, and that's what I think Jurgen Klopp has came in to do. And when Jurgen Klopp leaves, we don't want to lose the belief, we don't want to lose the doubters to believers. If we have Steven Gerrard as our manager, and he then has great tacticians behind him who can make us play like a top world-class team, as Liverpool should be, we are genuinely in a position where we could see another 10 years of dominance, or 10 years of being at the top and competing for them top trophies, which is all we ask as Liverpool fans. Compete.
I think that's the thing. You know, we talked before about getting the good staff around the manager with clubs like Newcastle, and
it's so important. It's more important than anything else, getting a good staff behind.
Absolutely, and I think that would be the thing. When you bring Gerrard in, you need to make sure that you've got that around him. At Liverpool, we have good foundations anyway, but bringing them four in, you know, I might have to get my mini Mo out as well.
You can't tell me, James, that Jude Bellingham wouldn't love to learn from Stevie G. Do you know what I mean? You can't tell me that, James. I'm not buying it.
But that's what you sell to him. Do you know when you buy Jude Bellingham in the summer or the summer after, what you sell to him is that, listen, you're going to be underneath one of the, in fact, no, wait there, the greatest manager in world football, in Jurgen Norbert Klopp. And then once he leaves in 2024 and you possess and you take off of him what he can offer you in this moment, you'll be working under the greatest Premier League midfielder of all time. And the thing
is,
throw
in Gary Mack as well, the man who helped Stevie G become the greatest midfielder.
Do you want to be the best in the world of free kicks as well? I've got Gary Mack there. You've got Gary Mack for you. Joke of a setup, a great way to inject the belief and keep the belief within the club, and also attract players like that. Because if Gerrard, because by then, you know, we're hoping he's going to have a trophy with Rangers, he's going to then have a good time at Aston Villa, and then he'll be coming into the Liverpool job as an established coach who has done well in his career, also a Premier League legend, may I remind you. That is a lot of pull to bring, and Steven Gerrard will have a lot of pull, and I really hope this happens, because it would be, I feel like Gerrard getting a Premier League title in this lifetime is something that it's got to be inevitable.
You know, after all them jokes, you know, when he was playing and not winning
a big fuck you to all of them, lads.
If he goes like, the piss as Liverpool manager, it would just be perfect. So
just wins 10 Premier Leagues.
There's nothing I want more. I want him to.
Defo doesn't eat his daughter's toenails as well. I can confirm that.
Defo doesn't, and he's got 3, and I'm sure he doesn't do that to any one of them. And that's
why. You know what? Even if he does, it's sound because it's Steven Gerrard.
No, it's not. It's not, though. Like, let's not go too far. It's really not sound, but it's okay because he doesn't do that.
You know what? One of the things that I
love the way Jack was just like, it's fine.
It's Gerrard. He can do what he wants. He wants to eat them, chew them, bite the toe off.
He's not ginger. He's not ginger, so it's fine.
One of the things that I heard from Villa fans was that fear of Gerrard will be there until the Liverpool job comes calling. But I don't necessarily, and I mean this with all due respect, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because any managerial cycle in this day and age is probably 2 to 3 years. You get some exceptions, of course you do. But if Stevie G left Aston Villa continuously in European competition, top table or top half of the table consistently in the Premier League, attracting some big players, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing then for another manager to come in and take over the reins. I certainly know, Jack, that Steven Gerrard would give it his all at Aston Villa, leave no stone unturned.
I think their worry is, 2.5 years with, they ran out of the time with Grealish. They're going into a new phase now. Is 2.5 years enough for a manager to get them where, Aston Villa aspire to be? Potentially not. But what Aston Villa need to realise is these things happen. look at Leeds with Marcelo Bielsa. He signs a contract year by year. They don't know if he's staying until the end of the season. They have no clue. He's the man that's transformed that football club, but they don't know if he's staying or going until the end of that season. So I think for me, Villa will just have to get the best out of Steven Gerrard while they can, and then if he does opt to stay, or if he decides that 2024 he's ready for the Liverpool job and he comes to us, then Gerrard will know when is right and when is wrong for him to take that job. He will be in, Liverpool will be watching from afar, will be tracking how he does, and Steven Gerrard will know that. He knew that when he left our youth set up to join Rangers. I'm sure he would have been promised that. So yeah, Villa fans can worry all they want, and I think for Villa fans it's difficult because they are a big club. They've got one of the best stadiums in English football. They are a big club, and they want to get back up there. They've got the owner to do it. Steven Gerrard has the capabilities to do that as a manager, as you say. It's not just his abilities tactically and as a coach and as a manager. It's his pull. It's the fact he's Steven fucking Gerrard. So, of course, if it goes well, they won't want the reign to end. But, all good things have to come to an end. And at the end of the day, they might be a big club, but we're fucking massive, WFM 20. And, at the end of the day, he'll want to come to us at some point. So, if he decides to leave, then hopefully he'll have done a good enough job at Villa by then anyway.
Two other managerial appointments kind of doing the rounds. Antonio Conte, of course, has come into Spurs, and Eddie Howe, as Jack was alluding to at the start of the video, Eddie Howe taking over there at Newcastle. Either of those two appointments strike any fear into you guys? Obviously, Conte is an excellent manager, but it's Spurs.
I'm just going to put it out there. Conte to Spurs, top quality manager. He'll get the best out of them this season. He'll be gone by the summer. If it's not,
I think he'll have this season and next season. That's what I think with Conte.
I cannot see him in a summer transfer window with Daniel Levy. He couldn't do it at Inter Milan. He couldn't do it. He had one. They threw everything at him.
But Inter Milan was saying we're going to get rid of all your best players. Where I think Inter Milan, they got to the final product and then were saying they were going to lose their players. Spurs, they're on like a rebuild and they need to add to their squad. Therefore, I don't think Conte will leave that.
What's Conte going to do when Kane goes, I want to leave in the summer?
Jack, best believe Conte would not join Tottenham fucking Hotspur. We're not talking about Barcelona and the fella. This is Tottenham Hotspur. He would not join them if there was no plan there in place to make sure that he's going to go out and be able to get what he wants in the summer. And if he wasn't satisfied with what he had right now, I genuinely believe from the bottom of my heart.
There's talk of £150 million.
Yeah, but Levy's a compulsive liar. That 150
He's a compulsive liar, but I think it's different now because even Levy knows that if he fucks up with this one, he's fucked. And he's invested a lot.
Apart from the fact that Antonio Conte had come through his fucking door as well. Not making any bones about that.
That 150 million, yeah. Let me just point this out. That 150 million. If they sell Kane in the summer, bearing in mind what they turned down this year and whatever, they'll probably get around the 100 million mark, maybe more for him. Okay, they sell him for that. Then there's only 50 million added to that kitty. So is that you've won, but at what cost sort of thing to Spurs fans? They got rid of obviously Nuno very early. He'd have received a massive goodbye paycheck. I can imagine it's quite a lot to bring in Antonio Conte. They paid
260 grand a week.
Well. They paid Mourinho a lot to sack him as well. Levy is a tight bastard. Conte's
on 13 mil a season, about 260 grand a week.
This just for me, it's like when it's like when two of your mates get together and you can just tell from the get go it's going to be fucking toxic. And it's just.
Do you know what? I disagree. I think that's what Nuno was. I think that's what Jose Mourinho was. I think this is like, oh my god, the crazy bastards actually found the right one for once. I think Conte, for the situation that Spurs are in, I feel like this is the best situation for them. And of course, he's got to back Antonio Conte. He's got to. But you've just got to understand, Jack, that Tottenham, they have tried everything. They've tried the world-class manager in Jose Mourinho to try and get them a trophy. They've tried the Nuno, Espino dos Santo, whatever his face is, to try and build them up and improve them over time. Now, they've got the most serial winner who's actually in date, someone who has won a trophy very recently, as in last season, who can bring the best out of what is a very average bunch of players. And again, the reason why Conte didn't just jump on other jobs straight away, maybe it was because they weren't there, but I think it was also because it weren't the right plan for him. Conte actually gives a fuck about his legacy. He gives a fuck about... He's not just there for a payday, in my opinion. He doesn't strike me as that type of individual. Therefore, I think he's going to go to Spurs. He's going there with a plan, and Levy's got no option. I don't care how tight you are. That hasn't worked out for you. So now you're going to have to try and change that approach, even if it's just for a short amount of time, because that's all Levy needs. Conte isn't going there for 5 years. He's going there to win them a trophy. He's going there to do what Jose Mourinho couldn't. Except this time, there's going to be more backing, in my opinion, and he will get back. And if he does get backed, I think that creates a more dangerous Spurs, but I don't think it's still anything for Liverpool to worry about. I think it gets them into the cups, like the League Cups, the FA Cups. I don't think it wins them a league title.
I suppose you can look at it another way, though, and say Conte could be the best thing that could happen to Daniel Levy. In terms of he will constantly be knocking at the door of Levy and trying to get him to put his hand in his pocket, trying to get him to back him in order for the success. And, if you're Antonio Conte, you've got the record to prove it. You just need to, remind Levy of what he's done everywhere he's been. The man is a machine. He wins titles. And, for me, at face value, it looks toxic, but it could work. And for me, it's a bit of a risky one. I think for Spurs fans, though, it's a win-win situation, because I think if this fails, I think they'll really start to put pressure on Levy to sell the club.
How on earth are Arsenal 2 points behind us going into this game? The last thing before we finish up.
I don't want to talk about it.
We have to, James, because I don't want to live in a world where Arsenal are ahead of us in the league table. And
it's not going to happen. It's just a dream. It's a phase.
It can't happen, mate. It can't. We can't allow this to happen. Boycott the game, do everything. It can't happen.
We're teenagers and we're just getting a few spots, all right? We're going to go to the shop, we're going to get the spot cream, and we're going to be custy within 4 days. Don't worry. Just
James, when you go to the shop, you've got to avoid the peas flying at your head.
I know, you do, and do you know what, boys? I genuinely think we're okay. I do think we're alright. But yeah, that is concerning. But at the same time, though, listen, we make Arsenal to be this joke, innit? They've done well.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta's done a decent job. I laughed at him for saying Norwich was the biggest result of his career, but in all fairness to him, since then, he's certainly improved them. And the thing that gives me hope for the game, lads, is I think Arsenal are still soft. And as soft as I think we were against West Ham, who outfought us and battled us, I think we'll roll over Arsenal. I can't see any way we don't beat them.
We've got
I think Aaron Ramsdale has a shocker and we win 6-0.
Yes. I like that, Jack. I like that. I can go to sleep comfortable knowing that that's going to happen now that you've said it. Boys, I don't think Arsenal are a team that's going to maintain it. A lot of the opposition they have faced, they should have beat. And they never played amazing in any of them games. We've already mentioned there was moments of brilliance from the goalkeeper. How long does that actually last? And even other certain things as well. When it comes team for team, we are the better team. And I believe over the course of a season, our football is way more sustainable than Arsenal's. Even though we've shown glimpses of dropping off recently and showing poor signs defensively, Liverpool are the team that are going to grow into this season, I feel, and we're going to eventually end up getting probably an even more impressive winning streak than what we've just had, or an unbeaten streak than what we've just had.
Yes, there we go. Perfect way. Yes. Go on, Jack. Go on. It better be fucking positive. Go on. Yeah, better be positive, Jack.
I'm actually going to call you out, Craig, because last week you said I couldn't give a 6-0 prediction, right? And we fucking lost. Every time this season, I've given a 6-0 prediction.
No, it's Chris's fault. It's Chris's fault. Chris went to Anfield a few weeks ago, so he's jinxed us. He drew Brighton, and then we've lost the weight against West Ham. So it's Chris Donnage's fault, definitely.
I think we beat Arsenal, and I think we start another slump for Arsenal. To be honest, I think their position is very false to where they are right now. I think, as James said, they've played a lot of low-level opposition recently, and that's probably why they are where they are.
Yeah, perfect game this from Mohamed Salah to get back on the goal scoring train, and for Sadio to bang one in as well, because he loves the goal against Arsenal.
Yeah, my little...
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end. What a fun show this one has been. Thank you to Jack. Thank you to James. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to our sponsors, Manscaped.com. Don't forget 20% off and free shipping with our code, which is James...
WFM20, motherfuckers. Yeah, you thought you were going to catch me off.
I didn't need to ask Jack. Jack basically has a tattoo on his brain at this point. Didn't need to ask him. He knows. Look, it's been loads of fun, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. We will be back soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but thank you for your support. Thank you to the two lads, and we will talk to you soon. Up the Reds.
Peace.